Alright, welcome to Walk Corner with Guido1212. What I'm doing here is a replay analysis for a T25-2 Cheese Whiz from the clan Raj, or R-A-J. Posted this in the forums and asked for some feedback, so I thought what I'd do is just do a quick video on this, post it on YouTube and let him see it. I've looked through it a couple times and I'm going to go ahead and give a replay analysis as he goes. I'm going to leave it on his camera so I can kind of discuss what he's doing. Got a T25-2, he's headed off to the left here on the windstorm map. And immediately he's going to push with a good portion of his team up here on the west side. And what he's going to do is kind of take a position that a lot of TDs take, which is a very passive, kind of nondescript, unaggressive position. He does this a lot as well. He's going to kind of zoom into places and look that I'm unsure of exactly what he's trying to look at. You'll see this later on when he sees somebody lit up. He'll just point at them, see if he can get a silhouette, and I can only assume it's from a lack of map knowledge. His zoom is interesting. I'm not sure if he uses space to zoom in or the scroll wheel. It may be space, which is why some of his zooms go to strange places. I personally recommend that you use the scroll wheel, and it'll avoid what's going on here where he just jumps into zoom and kind of has to find what he's looking for. It's very difficult to fine tune. So because he was really passive, he's looking at a Luke's, a Skoda T24. There's a couple guys spotted in the middle. Eventually he's going to move up. I don't like that passive position right there exactly because of what's happening right now. There's no real combat power up front. This tank's pretty good at it, even though it's a TD. It's got a turret and decent armor. I'd have kept trucking if I were him to get up to the corner. He sees the Luke, slows down. Again, we're just looking at a Luke's and a T24. He does mention in his post that he had to help his team push, and that is what will end up happening, but I will say that he could have done that much sooner had he been up there. Unfortunately, at this spot here, he's going to have to deal with crossing this open area, potentially taking a shot in the side. The good news is the enemy didn't put anybody there. So he's able to come up here late, and he will now start working on these guys up here. Looking at what's not spotted, still quite a few on the enemy team. If you look at the mods or the IS-87, you can see the rest of the laundry list. So there are still a lot of guns unaccounted for. It would be unwise just to go YOLO, but I think he could have much earlier taken this spot here. So he's going to come around, look at it, again with the zoom thing going on. Takes a hit. Had he came around slightly zoomed and actually pointing in the direction he was going to shoot, he wouldn't have that issue. And again, the scroll wheel, I believe, is the way to go there. I really don't like the space or the shift, whatever key you have bound to it. T67 is getting rocked. Now, I'm going to go back to the other free camera. There's a T3045 up there. There's a Luke's. There's a T24 right there, and we're just kind of sitting. I'm really not sure. I'm really unsure what you're intending to do right there. And he's going to back up. 3045 died. So he knows the E75 is up there. That's some SA you can get if you take a look over here on the right above the mini map. Who just killed who shows up. So you know the E25 is back there somewhere. So that accounts for him. Go back to his camera. Now, this I don't understand why he turned around. He knows the Luke's was back there. He knows the Skoda T24. I'm unsure of why he's turning around. There's nobody behind him that I can see. Whether he thinks he's just going to fall back because he's getting no help, I'm not sure. But he's really just turned his rear end to this Luke's. He's very lucky this guy didn't tear him up anymore. So now we've turned back around. The Luke's has taken that high ground. So I'm looking at the Luke's. Now this is a decent play right here. We're being very careful. There's no reason to go zinging around that corner or pushing up to try to get the Luke's. Still a lot of tanks unaccounted for. We know the E25 is back there, so this is fine. Notice that Skoda's creeping up on us though, and we're not really paying attention. There we go. Now we've got the Skoda. This is a point where you've got to kind of keep track of two tanks and what they're doing. He does have some help with the 122-44, and now he's just going to drive across. Now he knows that E25's over there, And that's fine if you're just going to take a hit for further purpose, going after the Skoda, but we're going to get them, and then we get tore up. So we've driven across there, exposed ourselves to the Lukes, taken a bunch of hits, chased down the Skoda, but also found the Hellcat, and we knew the E25 was around that corner as well. So I think this is a pretty ill-advised move right here. We're down to 236 hit points. Probably not really the best move at that point. Looks like he has a little trouble keeping track of more than one tank. Pretty good at tracking down one tank, but once multiple tanks show up, it looks like there is quite a bit of difficulty keeping track of all of them. It also appears that he doesn't have a zoom out mod. I would highly recommend that. It looks like the maximum zoom is what we're looking at here. Additionally, I don't see any real scanning around, as in locking the view or locking the turret and looking around. He gets lucky here. I don't know what this Luke's is doing. This guy is completely clueless. He's actually looking at him. He just sits there the whole time unless he's tracked. It doesn't appear that he is. No idea why that guy did that. So a little bit of luck there. And no Artie seems to have fired at him either. Again with the shift key. And again with the shift key. And you can see how when you use that, or whatever is bound to zoom, that it just kind of goes where you're pointing, and you've got to fine tune. That's why I really recommend the scroll wheel. Driving up on terrain. And now just kind of leaving. Unknown once again. He's got some friends. I'm going to go to the free camera. He's got an E25 fighting the T25. Let's go to T25. That guy's in the middle of a battle and he just kind of leaves, which I would not have done. He should have stayed there and helped the E25. Looks like he's figured that out. He's coming back around. And again, that's kind of a lack of SA on where all the other tanks are around him, including friendlies. But it's all worked out, hasn't it? 3 kills, 945 damage. Has helped his team get out quite a bit into the lead. So he's doing the right thing. He's flexing to the other side where the other tanks are. There's only the E25 unaccounted for. There it is, just showed up. He already kind of knew it was in that part of the map anyway, having taken a hit from it. And then he's going to head over here towards the cap. I can only assume that his idea is he wants to get up back behind the cap because he knows there's high ground right there. For my money, I would have gone straight across this water and up into this middle area and used my turret and perhaps moved into the town right here, or hang out up here for shots across. But what we're going to see is he's going to truck all the way around the back. When he's got a Crusader and a Skoda already more or less around there helping to engage and like these guys, he takes the long route, and this is going to cost him some time in dealing with these guys. Again, very passive kind of play. Some single-minded maneuvering, not a terrible idea, but I think he really needed to get his gun in the game much sooner than this. The Skoda and the Crusader are looking for him. He's got some guys pushing the E25 on cap. Hopefully they find that Artie. He's been very lucky that Artie hasn't been targeting him at all. Looks like one of his friends. And not allowing that kind of thing to happen. Now we're going to be very passive here. We're just going to sit and wait for the IS. The IS just fired. He's over there engaging. All you had to do is drive down a little bit more and take that guy out sooner. Drive out in the open, but he's got some terrain there on his right he could have used. Take a few peeks, see if he can get some shots, but he's going to trundle up to the top of the hill right here. Again, not a terrible idea, but he could have got his gun in the fight much sooner. The Crusader's getting rocked. One thing you've got to watch out for is multiplying your combat power and not allowing that kind of thing to happen. Now we're going to be very passive here. We're just going to sit and wait for the IS. The IS just fired. He's over there engaging. All you had to do is drive down a little bit more and take that guy out sooner. Did it hurt him overall? No, not really. But it could have happened sooner. And now we're backing. I don't know if we're trying to avoid Artie or what we're doing here, but the Skoda's engaged and we're just kind of sitting here. IS died. If nobody else is pushing forward, push down, look for a shot. He'd have had one right there, wouldn't he? Because the T-22 was sitting there. So a little aggression would have gone a long way in this case. Unknown why we're turning around. But it looks like we decided to fall back again. We could have got up there and taken on. What I really hate about this right here the worst thing about this right here is not necessarily that we're falling back. Okay, got it. You're falling back to your buddies. I'd have been a little more aggressive. That's fine. You're falling back, but man, you're not looking backwards. Why is your turret not turned backwards? You should absolutely have the turret turned in your view back where you know that T-25-2 is. If he shows his face, you got to auto aim and snapshot and try to get away from there. But this right here is very bad. Good news is T-25 doesn't come raging around any corners, and there goes the Hellcat. So we spend a lot of time falling back, a lot of time falling back. Gets a pretty good snapshot here. This works out nicely for him, and then he's dead. Can I complain about the results? Absolutely not. He got the guy, but I think they could have got him a lot sooner. All right. Now here's an interesting thing that I've seen through most of this replay. We're going to drive towards this M44, but we're continuing to zoom in to look for shots when we know that those are buildings and there's just no shots there. I would zoom out, look for the general terrain, and try to figure out what my clearest path is in behind there. The reason I say zooming in and kind of peeking at guys that you know you're not going to have a shot on is a big deal. If there is another tank show up and you're not zoomed out looking around, you're more likely to miss that second tank moving in on you. The further out you can zoom, the better. Again, this may be the max he has. He may not be running a mod. So that's fine. Nice job. Comes up behind that guy. Wrecks him. He's done. And we know the E-25 is over there because he just killed an arty and he's lit on the map. Again, driving away from the enemy. Seems like he doesn't really know right away that there was E-25 spotted. Maybe he was trying to protect himself from a rear shot. Okay, if that's so, then good. And at least we're being a little bit aggressive moving up here. And that's good. Move with the Hellcat, move together with him. That's a good idea. The E-25's had a pretty good game. He's got 5 kills, so he's been wrecking people. That thing fires quickly, and he's going to shred the armor on both these tanks. Potentially. So we'll stop. The Hellcat's moving up. Not a bad idea. Better than just driving through. All right, there he is. You find him. Again with the zoom thing. Cost you a few seconds every time you do that, trying to fine-tune that shot. Hellcat actually gets owned right here. I'm not exactly sure what happens. He's taking a hit. Maybe he was driving or didn't have a shot, don't know. He actually, oh, he got a shot on him. The guy just gunned him down before he could reload. And there he goes. And now we're going to get a kind of lucky shot here, kind of on the back edge. And the guy's done. So overall, a very passive playstyle. It ended up working out well for him. Can't argue with the results of it. I'd have been a little more aggressive. I think some of the biggest takeaways are the way you use your zoom. That's costing you a few precious seconds every time you engage somebody. I think you need to zoom out more. You need to look around a lot more. You need to try to pay attention to more than one tank. You also need to think about pressing advantages instead of just automatically turning around or backing up and trying to get away. Otherwise, I think your repositioning instinct is good, even if perhaps it didn't need to be used in a couple of those positions. I hope this helps, man. Take it easy.